Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is July something. The 7th? Sure, we'll go with the 7th. I think that's what it is. It's close to that. How was everybody's week? Awesome, that was really good to hear. I'm drinking from my Pennsylvania mug again. Alright, so we've got Q&A. Yay! We've got whip updates. We've got, and we've got homework for next week to discuss, as well as a finish. So I look like a mess today, but we're just gonna dive right on into this. We'll see how this goes. So the first couple of questions come from Dee Rose 17. She says, and most of it has to do with magical stitches, but do I do any of the extra credit stitching? And the answer is no, mainly because I really just have about as much time to get through the regular homework during the week. So I don't really have the time for the extra credit. So I focus on the regular homework and I go from there. And I don't do any of the extra credit reading, largely because it mostly takes me the full time to get through the book, because I don't have as much reading time. So yes, despite my own ambition and good intentions as well, I just don't have the time. I've seen Broadway Stitcher post the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch monthly challenges, but I'm not in that group, and honestly, at the moment, I'm kind of okay with that. I've got enough challenge with magical stitches. But that said, maybe next year, depending on what series Magical Stitches goes with next year. And then her last question is, fabric am I using for Giant Harry Potter, count, type, and size? It's 32 count, I know that for sure. It is a linen, I think it's antique ivory from Witchell. I got it, and it was a half yard. I got it, it had been opened, so when I went to Hobby Lobby, they'd had it marked it down to like 12 bucks. So I bought it, and that's what I'm using. I don't remember for sure if that's what it is at this point, though. But I think it's Antique Ivory by Witchell. Isabel's Moments with Crafts asks, are those your real nails, and how do you not break them? Because I tend to break mine. They are my real nails. I did cut them this week. But yes, they are my own. I first came to love it. I picked it up actually 5 years ago this week. Or a little more than that, because it took me about 3 weeks to actually finish the project. But my first finish was the end of June, in 2014. And I picked it up as something because I thought, oh, well, this will be really cool. I can make it, and I can hang it in my room. And I just fell in love with it. I'm in Gryffindor House for Magical Stitches. I was debating trying to transfer to Hufflepuff at the start of this book, but I decided I would just stay in Gryffindor. I had already been there, and it just made sense. My favorite current whip is probably Emerald City by Owl Forest, because I just finished my favorite whip 2 weeks ago with Longfellow. That's for you, Julicious. Heather Brown wants to know, how do you know what size your fabric should be? I read the size for The Wizard of Oz for Emerald City, but it said the stitch count not including borders. Okay, so your stitch count, you take the number of stitches and you divide it by your fabric count. So in the case of, if you're working on 14 or 28, you would divide it by 14. If you're working 16 or 32, you divide it by 16. And that gets you your dimensions, and then you just add however much of a border you want. I tend to work with 1.5 to 2 inches. Some people say you have to work 4 inches. There are fabric calculators out there that will guide you to that as well. So that's how I do it. Let's see. All right, Michaela Arel has a Krynic question. So I get my Krynic out. She says she's stitching on 25 count, and her chart calls for Krynic 32, which is pearl. That's in a lot of Heaven and Earth designs. Can you please, but I'm confused about the number braid. Can you explain the braid thickness to me? And the answer is yes. Sure, got mine. Okay. Do I have... Those are micro ice. That's ribbon. That's wired braid. Don't think I have anything thicker than 8. Because I never need anything thicker than 8. So, okay. Alright. So, Krynic, as most of us know, have lots of different thicknesses. They go from blending filament all the way up to, I believe it's 32. There may be 64, but I'm pretty sure it stops at 32. In cross stitch, you're going to use blending filament and number 4 the most. If you're working on paper, you'll occasionally use 8, but personally, I prefer to double over number 4 because it's sparklier that way. Needlepoint is going to be more likely to use your 8, your 16, and 32s. And it all has to do with the whole size in your fabric. Your higher count fabrics, you're going to want to use a thinner strand. If you're going above about a 35 count, I would recommend either blending filament or going to Rainbow Gallery, because Rainbow Gallery is significantly thinner. So, Krynic numbers theirs by blending filament and then by 4s. And the reason for that is, here's your blending filament. It's your thinnest. It's meant to be worked either combined with 2 strands of cotton or over the top. Like you've already stitched it and you're going back over it. Then you get your number 4. So named because it is 4 blending filament strands braided together. And there's the thickness on that. So you can see the difference in the blending filament and the number 4. The number 8, by comparison, is 8 strands braided together. And you can see its difference there. So that's what it is. I strongly suggest, if you're doing it, to follow whatever the chart for, because I've never done 25. I don't particularly enjoy Hades. Following whatever it suggests braid-wise. But definitely pay attention to your braid numbers, because that will be a problem for you if you don't. Let's see. Sheila Miller asks, what do you do in Magical Stitches if you don't have a whip that hasn't been stitched on in X amount of months? In that case, then, what I tend to do is I look at the homework versus the penalty stitches. And if I'm going to get more points doing what I can at the homework, I do that. If I'm going to get more points doing the penalty stitches, I do that. So, and in this case, this month, this week I'm having a little trouble with that third one. So I'm only going to get probably 2 of the 3 assignments done, which is still 6 points versus the, 3 I would have gotten if I did penalty stitches. All right. So that is the Q&A. As always, love me some Q&A. Alright, so when last we left, I was finishing up homework for the end of Order of the Phoenix. So I had to do 600 stitches to do Graveyard and Things Touching. So there's where I got on Great Cheshire. I discovered as I started doing the backstitch on the little yellow sign that I actually was a row short. So next time I work on it, I get to go back and redo that part. But I got the gate and everything below it done, so the next time I work on it, it'll be a house. Yay. Alright. So, Monday was, of course, Mirabella Monday. And I worked on Mrs. Ladybug. And then I got far enough on her that I decided I was going to spend my 4th of July day working on her, as well as the day before. And what do you know? We got a finish. Ta-da! So I left out her little antenna things because I didn't really particularly like them, and I figured my mom probably would prefer them not there as well. But here she is. She's on Lucky by Picture This Plus, or not Picture This Plus, excuse me, Lucky by Ship's Manor. It was a fabric of the month, so it's not part of his regular line. But I'm sure if you ask, he could probably get you something close to it. With all the called for color and beads. So there she is. She was a lot of fun. And I can't wait to get her framed. Alright, so then, for homework this week, the project that I picked for, I haven't worked on it in 5 months. I actually ended up going with Soda Stitch's Nutcracker. So there's the full design. I actually would have done a little bit more on her, but I don't have any more 433, so I couldn't backstitch. But there we go. There's what I got done. So Clara is at least stitched, and part of her dress is backstitched. So this is on Christmas in Williamsburg, I believe. Yeah, Christmas in Williamsburg. It's the gold opal from Under the Sea Fabrics. So that's coming along nicely. Okay. So today I'm going to be working on This Corner of the World by Tempting Tangles. So here's where I'm at. I've got to do 300 stitches, and I need to look. I know I got off in my border, but I genuinely don't. Oh yeah, no, that's where I got off. Never mind. I figured out where I got off in my border, so I will be working on. I may have to do some frogging. Yay. I actually may end up skipping the frogging for now and working on a different part of it, and then come back and fix the frogging later. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but we're gonna work on it. And then this week's homework, we have the option of working on Project 1, Project 2, or Project 12. We have to work on at least 2 of them. We've got to get 500 stitches on each, and the reason for that each is because large portions of Order of the Phoenix, and really kind of from there on, take place at 12 Grimmauld Place, which is Sirius Black's home in Ilsington. It's under the Fidelis charm, so it can't be found, so it's a perfect place for the Order of the Phoenix to meet for their meetings. So I'm going to work on my number 1 and my number 12. My number 1 is With Thy Needle by Lila's Studio. So here we go. That's where I'm at. That's upside down. So So 500 stitches, actually quite honestly may end up being a finish for that little section. That's what I'll be working on for part of the week. And then the other part of the week will be Sarah Davis, because that was my number 12 project. So here's where I'm at. So, and I'll do, because it should, I think one row and border should cover me for the 1,000, but if not, I can drop down and work a little on that border on that side. So, yep. Yeah, and there's a chance, actually, I may go ahead and work on this a little to try and get part of the homework done for this week, but we'll see how far I get on Corner of the World. So, anyhow, that's kind of it for me for the week. Sort of planning purposes, we are moving the last weekend of July to a new apartment, so there very likely will not be a video that week. There may also not be one the week before that. I don't know. We're going to kind of play it by ear. The new place is very close to our old place, and we're going to be doing a lot of it ourselves, so we may not really be packing until the week of the move. But we'll see. So yeah. But definitely the last week of the month there won't be a video, and there may not be one the first week of August. So, anyhow, that's kind of it for me. I hope everyone has a terrific week, and I will see y'all next time.